It rarely happens in a classical game that you end up with more time than what you began with. This happened with Vidit Gujrathi in the second round of the Prague Masters when he took on the Spanish GM David Anton Guijarro. Let's have a look at the game, and I want to discuss a couple of things with you. Vidit is black, white is Anton. E4 played E5, knight to F3, knight F6. We had the Petroff, which is one of Vidit's solid weapons against E4. D4 was played, Vidit took the pawn, and now the main move here is bishop D3, which has 13,000 games, but Anton took DE5, which has just 1500 games played here. And a solid line now would be D5, but Vidit went for the move bishop C5, which is also playable. Now, how do you defend F2 is already a question. It's a weakness there. Well, you don't defend it, you go and attack F7. This gives you a lot of a feeling like the Traxler gambit. If you do not know what Traxler is, after knight F3, knight C6, bishop C4, knight F6, knight G5, F7 is attacked, black goes bishop C5, and after knight F7, he takes on F2. And this is a very interesting line that can be played, and also here. So when you play such sharp lines, you have to be very well prepared. Vidit took on F2 with the knight. Of course, if you take with the bishop, this is already a bad position after king F1, because with queen D5 in the air and all sorts of threats, this is already very, very dangerous. So knight F2, and now came the move bishop F7. If you were to play queen D5 now, then after queen E7, black is doing very well. So bishop F7, king F7, queen came to D5, check. And now king G6, an important move. Because if you play king to E8, white has a strong move. Can you find it? Yes, the move is bishop to G5, trapping the queen. Bishop has to move back. I take, queen takes, and king F2. And although the material is even, white is very well developed and is clearly better. So after queen D5 check, it is important to go to G6. Now this king looks very, very weak, but how to attack it? It's not so easy. Right now, all checking squares are taken up by the knight. So you take queen C5 and black takes on H1. He's now a rook up, but the knight is kind of tied down. And so white went knight C3. Vidit played H6 in the position. Already 32 games have been played in this position already. Yeah. Queen C4. Threatening all sorts of things like queen E4 check, knight D5, bishop E3, long castle. These are all the plans. Knight C6 was played here by Vidit, very quickly played. In fact, king H7 has been played before, and check king G8, and here knight D5. This was the game Pankratov Abdusattorov. This is an online game. Knight C6, bishop E3, and then D6. E6, and here Abdusattorov blundered with bishop E6. It was an online game, maybe not serious, but here black is almost close to winning after knight E7. So king H7 also a very viable move and has been played more number of times, in fact 20 times. But knight C6 played by Vidit, I think he was following the game between Nepo and Aronian. This happened in 2020 in the Skilling Open, and this was the game that introduced this move. Vidit played it instantly. Knight to D5 played, and now D6. And here is where I think that Anton could have improved his play. He went for check on F4, king H7, check, king G8, check, king here, and the game ended in a draw. Well, you can't do much. You are already a rook down, and if you go something like knight G6, then already D5, and I mean, black is going to simply win after rook H7. He'll be up material. So he had to give checks, and at this point the game ended in threefold repetition. Vidit had 1 hour 32 minutes. That's 2 minutes more than what he began with. I was thinking that here the engines prefer the move E6, and this is a very interesting move because now you can't take, because if you take, then there is knight F4 check, and then E6 is hanging, right? So E6 played, And the threat is very simple, queen e4 check, and that is game over, curtains. There's nowhere the king can go to. So king h7 looks like the only reasonable move. Check, king g8, and now e7. Queen e8. This was the game played between Orlov and Nepomuk. It was a correspondence game already played. And here bishop e3 is a good move, preparing long castles. Knight takes e7 was played. And in this position, queen takes e7 was played, which led to a draw. But here, knight takes e7, king f7, and a very powerful move here for white. Can you find it? White to play. Bishop to g5. Very interesting move, because after hg, knight takes g5, white is the one who's winning here. King f6, long castle. White is just totally in the driver's seat. So bishop e3 over here, a better move is after bishop e3 not to take on e7, but let's say bishop d7, and then or instead of bishop e3, if you were to take on c7, this is not a good idea because it leads to a draw. Black has to find the only move here, black to play. If you move the queen, then the pawn queens, so you can't do that. If you take here, then after take and take, white is better. So the right move here is bishop f5. Well done if you found it. Because now after queen takes f5, queen e7 is winning for black. So queen d5 check, queen f7 takes, queen takes, queen, king h7, and now the only move to hold for white, because black is winning here if he does not have this move. White has to find the only move. Check, takes, check, and draw in the position. So these were some of the lines, and I have a feeling that here after d6, e6, Vidit would have been very well prepared, but I'm very keen to know as to what was his preparation after this. So it might well be that playing this move knight c6 might not be the most accurate, and king h7 is the most accurate move because black has been doing well there. So once you play knight here, knight f4, you're already treading on thin ice, because now knight h4 is a big threat. And after d6, let's say now if you play knight h4, then king f7 works because queen e4, king g8, and in this position the king is safe. The reason why, let's say if you don't have d6 in this position and then this happens, entire thing, then it does not work, is because of a very powerful move here that you have, and which is knight f6 check. And if gf6, then this is a mate, while after d6, knight h4, king h7, and if now you play this move, then this is winning. So actually you have to find again the only move, king f7 here. This is an important move, not king h7. King h7 still is lost here because of knight f6 check, but king f7, and here whatever is the discovered check, it will be not so easy. So let's say for example, if you play knight c7, I have d5 move which is winning, because if you play knight d5, I have now bishop e6, and if you move the queen, then I'll take the knight, and if you play here, then this is safe. So it's a very, very complicated line. Putting the king here is somehow working out because of this intermediate d5 move. And the same stuff after knight h4. If this, I've just made two moves for white, king f7 does not work because after knight c7, d5, there is en passant. So en passant is the reason why black loses in such positions. And I really would implore you to go deeper into these lines that were played and to actually try to figure out what's happening. I think it's a very, very interesting system to analyze. Maybe white can improve with this idea that we just discussed here with e6. But it needs analysis, and maybe we can ask Vidit what his thoughts are here. But until then, guys, this is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye bye.